Man spent 2 hours in a wardrobe during hide and seek. When he came out, he realized the clock had only gone 1 minute. He thought the clock was broken, but when he asked a friend, he realized that only 1 minute had passed. The highly intelligent Matt instantly realized that the wardrobe left by his grandmother could steal time. In 10 minutes, the exam will be over. Matt took his study materials and went in to cram for the exam. When he came to the exam room with confidence, he easily wrote down the answers he had memorized. But Kirby noticed the same thing. It was only a few hours later. He had grown so much beard. Matt managed to get to the top of the class. Kirby was curious and asked him for the secret, but Matt smiled a little. He said he was a master of time management. With this magic wardrobe, Matt got into a Fortune 500 company with the highest grade in the class, and every time the company sent him a task, he would always bring his materials into the wardrobe. Other people need a month's time, but he could do it in just one night. The boss appreciated his ability very much. He prepared a banquet for him to celebrate his success, but when Matt went to wash his hands, he was surprised to find that he had a lot of gray hair. He thought he'd been working too hard lately, so he didn't pay much attention to it, but as time went by, Matt found himself struggling to play ball with his son, even when Kirby tapped him lightly, and he was falling down all the time. He couldn't stand up. After the doctor examined him, he was dumbfounded. Matt was only 28 years old, and he had a stroke. It's a disease that only happens to old people. Matt then realized, outside the wardrobe, time had slowed down, outside the closet, but his life was still passing. If you count the time he spent in the wardrobe, he'd be in his 40s or 50s. Matt realized that this was not the way to go, so he decided to make a big order. He'd make enough money to call it quits. He put on his pajamas, he used the key to open the wardrobe, and put it back in his pocket. Inside he worked for 7 hours. He finally finished the biggest order in the company, and when he was ready to leave, he suddenly realized that the key was missing from his pocket. He felt around and realized there was a hole in his pocket. The key to the wardrobe had fallen out. At that moment, his son walked into the basement. Matt frantically tapped into the wardrobe for help, but from the cracks, the sun was moving at an unusually slow pace. Because the time flow in the outside world is hundreds of times slower than inside, it wasn't long before Matt became an old man. When the sun opened the wardrobe, all he saw was a pile of ashes and a gold watch that had fallen to the floor.